Let's say that I need to find research information for my research question, which is how accurate is medical information on social media? I know that I need to use some articles for my research project, so I'm going to search in the library databases. And I'm going to start by clicking on the yellow Databases tab at the top of the library's home screen. Right now we're going to search in EBSCOhost, and you can find the link to that at the top right of the databases page over here in the Featured Databases area. And by default, you're going to be searching in all of our EBSCOhost databases at one time. So by clicking on the All Databases link here, I could pick and choose just the databases with the type of information that I'm looking for. A lot of people think that EBSCO is one sort of big bucket of stuff, and it's actually not. It's just the company we use that provides us access to all of these different databases, and each one covers a different subject area. But for right now, we're going to leave this as is. If we get a lot of off-topic results, we could revisit that later and make some adjustments. But for right now, I'm going to take my question, how accurate is medical information on social media, and see how we do. Okay, so this list isn't bad, but it does seem to be a little bit more about how patients go about looking for information rather than about the quality of the information that they're finding. So I want to adjust my search terms a little bit. The database has a hard time understanding what's most important and what's less important, so taking out extra words is usually a good place to start. I'm going to pare it down to social media and medical information and accuracy. I'm putting the phrases social media and medical information in quotation marks because that tells the database that I need those exact phrases, not just articles that happen to contain all four of those words. It is important to make sure that you're including a word or a phrase that addresses every main idea from your question, though. Okay, so this list is looking a bit better than the first one. We have some options up here at the top that we'll get to in a minute, but first let's take a look at the basic information about the article that we get here on the result page. If the article is peer-reviewed, it will say that, and you'll also see this little yellow check mark. Then you'll get the title of the article, the subjects that it discusses, information about where and when it was published, the database that the article came from, and the author's names. If you click on this Show More link, it will usually pull up the article's abstract, which is a short summary of the article. Do not quote this in your research project because the abstract is not actually part of the article itself. It's just a little preview of what the article contains. Okay, so now let's take a look at these limiting options at the top of the list. One that you definitely want to pay attention to is the date range limiter. Instead of all time, you can change this to the past 1, 5, or 10 years. 5 years is a pretty good rule of thumb for most topics. If you need to set a specific date range other than these ones, you can do that with the advanced search options. But for right now, we're just going to say 5 years. So that gets rid of everything that is more than 5 years old. Another button that's important is the one right next to it, which is peer-reviewed. This will show us just things that are peer-reviewed, scholarly, academic information. So this will get rid of newspaper articles or magazine feature articles and leave us with just academic stuff. So it looks like we lost 3 things that must not have been scholarly on our initial result list. And finally, we have the full text button next to that one. This is also good to know about. A lot of people think that if they found something in EBSCOhost, if they just click long enough, eventually the whole article will show up. And that's not how we have it set up here at Seton Hill. You're automatically going to see results that we don't have subscriptions to, especially if you are researching medical topics. So if all you see underneath the article is a View Details link like this one, that means we don't have a subscription to the journal that published the article, in this case, Pediatric Hematology and Oncology. So if I needed this article, I would open up the record page here, and I would open a new tab in my browser and go to the interlibrary loan section of the library's website and fill out the form that you can find there. And we'll cover that in more detail in another video. If I do click this full text button, we will lose a lot of articles. I went from 56 to 19. but all of these do have an access options button underneath them. So if I find an article that I want to read the text of, like quality of information in gallstone disease videos on TikTok, I can follow the access options to the full text finder link. And sometimes you'll get a page like this one. If that happens, try clicking the open page in a new window link up here at the top. That will almost always fix the problem. And from here, you should be able to look around a little bit on the page and eventually find the file. Here's the PDF file over here, and I can download or print or save that. Sometimes you do need to look a little bit because the publishers put those in different areas of the page. But if you have any trouble with this process, please let a librarian know, and we will be happy to help you out.